Come along, rise and shine. Come along and rise and shine. Come on and shine. Come along and ride on a light walker, Johnny. Light walker, Johnny. Yeah. Come along and ride on a light walker, Johnny. Yeah.
Well, welcome everyone to the latest episode of the Sunday Soul Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Lisa Brewer, and I have with me a new friend that I know all of you are going to resonate with and just love as much as I do. I want to introduce to you Ms. Tanya Gill. Hello, Ms. Tanya. How are you?
Oh, Dr. Lisa, so good to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Tanya has a very unique story and a very unique gift. So I want her to share her story with us. And let's talk about something that's very near and dear to my heart, which is loving yourself and taking your power of your life back. So, Tanya, tell us a little bit about yourself and how do we get here? How do we get where we are now?
How does Tanya Gill become founder of Perfectly Imperfect WTF? So my life has been a series of what the fuck moments. And I think many people can relate to that. And some of them are huge and some of them are tiny. So, like we've all gone out and found a flat tire. It's a what the fuck moment. We're faced with a choice. Are we going to tantrum and shit ourselves and live in our dirty diapers, or are we going to find the way forward, right? And get through it. My biggest what the fuck moment happened just over 14 years ago. And it was when I was on a family vacation in Mexico with my husband and my two young sons, who at that time were 4 years old and 8 months old. And we were on what we called our family honeymoon because he and I were so responsible that we were saving for countertops and we were saving for new doors and doorknobs, but we hadn't, and we called it indulged. We hadn't done a trip. So we did this family vacation to Mexico. And on our third day there, my husband lovingly left my boys and I by the pool to hang out. I was feeding my youngest and he's like, I'm just going to go for a walk on the beach. And before long, I noticed a commotion and my oldest was in an activity poolside. So I took my little one in my arms to go and see what the commotion was. And you know how we have those feelings? You get that feeling.
Yeah.
I had the feeling and I didn't want to go, but you also know you just need to go. And so there I went. With my 8-month-old in my arms, I went to the edge overlooking the beach, and this woman turned to me and said, somebody drowned. And as I looked over, they were pulling my husband out of the water.
I'm so sorry.
So that is like a what the fuck moment that nobody ever expects. And for me, it was one of those moments where it was like, I got to figure out how I'm going to go forward and how I'm going to go forward for my kids. And like, and this is both part of the solution and part of the problem, if this makes sense, Lisa. Part of the solution was I had a reason to get out of bed. I had a reason to keep going forward. I made a commitment to myself that I would teach my children that life is worth living, even in the deepest grief, that joy and goodness can be found anywhere if you look for it. And that there are possibilities, even when it doesn't feel like there are. And so I did. I dedicated my life to giving that to my kids. And I even re-educated myself. Before that, I was a teacher. Then for a while, I was a vibrator sales lady. And then, I know, right? I know. And when I realized, and this is the best part, this is the fucking best part, Lisa. I was about raising people's vibes back then, and now it's fucking next level, right? Like, it's awesome. So I know.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's real
But
self-love now.
no, right?
That's the real
It's the
self-love right there.
self-love, right? But the funniest part, Lisa, and this is the funniest and also kind of the most ironic, is I've always been one, I'm an empath. So I've always been one who is in service to others.
Mhm.
And so I became like, who the fuck becomes the poster child for grief? Tanya Gill. I had people coming out of the woodwork saying, I have a friend who lost a spouse. I have a so-and-so who lost a spouse. And can you talk to so-and-so? They lost their son. And I'm like, I didn't have a clue how on earth that was supposed to be. So I decided to re-educate myself again, and I became a social worker. And as a social worker, I ended up working in child protection. And then last year, this is the truth. The story is last year, I hit a rock bottom that actually felt deeper and darker than losing my husband, because I was diagnosed with PTSD, and I realized that the person that I'd lost was still alive, and that was myself.
Yeah.
And you know, Lisa, it's one of those things where when you're so busy trying to put on that perfect outside world
Mhm.
and make sure that everybody's needs are being met,
Mhm.
you put yourself not just last, but like you serve yourself the scraps of the scraps.
Mhm.
And then we become, and then I became an empty vessel.
Mhm.
And on the outside, this is the amazing part. On the outside, Lisa, I looked like I was living my best life. I had just remarried my second soulmate, a beautiful blended family. We bought the fucking house next door and moved his kids in next door. We could all live together. And my life was, on the outside, perfection.
Mhm.
And that's why it's that perfectly imperfect .wtf, because I literally, well, the truth is, you know what I was doing? I was sitting in an empty garage, crying, smoking weed, and feeling sorry for myself. That's where I was. I was just like, numb the fuck out. And I was like, what's the answer? And the interesting thing about this is, in all of this, even when my husband died, in every instance of my life, I've always had this incredible battle with my weight.
Okay.
And so I was a chronic dieter, and from the time I was 6 until that point, I was always fighting with myself and thinking that I could make everything outside of me look perfect, and yet on the inside, I was just a pile of shit moving around in a fat body, miserable. And that was the conversation I had with myself every day. And it was like a light bulb. And it was like, all of this has a purpose, but you can't fucking help anybody if you don't start helping yourself.
Right. Right.
And so I was like, okay, what does that look like? And so I started from the ground up, building trust and love and daily presence with myself. And that's how the Lighten Up program was built. And like, I don't talk about how many pounds I lost. I can tell you, on January 1st, I weighed 217 pounds, and today I weigh 157 or 154. If you want to do the math, go ahead.
Wow.
Those numbers don't matter.
Right.
What matters is I love myself, I trust myself, and I am living my juiciest life now. And do you know what's amazing about that? It's like fueling a fire, because I have the ability to show other people the power of their own flame.
Yes.
Fuck, right?
So there's a lot I'm going to go back, and we're going to
Sorry.
unpack a little bit of this, a little bit of that. What I hear you say when you talk about this everything, and what's amazing to me is you go through this trauma, and I'm sure that there were other traumas
Oh, yeah.
before the 14, before your first husband passed,
Absolutely.
right? So there's like all these traumatic events, energetic injury, and all these other things that contributed to kind of the result of what happened even after that day.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I look at it and I think, and I, as a healer, a mentor, or a coach, I would say, girl, wait a minute. You went from going through all of this, you know, um, living and growing into a new normal. Because after, the handsome man over my shoulder is my father that passed away almost 14 years ago now. That pain never goes away. It's just it's a new normal, and that normal moves throughout the time, throughout all of it. So then that's a whole nother discussion. But you went from that to then becoming a social worker and in child protective services. So it's like you were drowning yourself in more grief, more hurt, more pain, because, like I say, for an empath, the dirty little secret that we all carry around, we don't want to heal ourselves. We'll heal everybody else, but healing ourselves is the toughest one.
That's exactly it. And oh my God, you totally nailed it. That's exactly it. I was so busy trying to make life easier and better and safer and healthier and happier for everyone else. And don't get me wrong. I mean, obviously I found my second soulmate.
Sure.
Truly. But absolutely the majority of my energy was about easing that pain for everyone else and avoiding looking in.
Do you find that we avoid that pain as empaths? Because I have to own, I've done my what the fuck bullshit for a while too. So do you find that we do that? It's an escape. But for me, I felt like if I owned the fact that I had my own crap to deal with, that somehow I was a fraud while I was trying to help other people. Like it didn't make it authentic, if I owned my own stuff.
Well, and I think that we all struggle with imposter syndrome. We struggle with imposter syndrome as parents, as professionals, as, even it's Christmas time and like you see the neighbors putting up the lights and you can you want to find an imposter syndrome, you can find it, right? And yeah, absolutely. I think that we focus on trying to create that perfect world outside. And I think that what people really need to hear is, you know what, I'm human too. And we are all fucking up. And the best way forward, and I say this, is if there's something that you can do for yourself, just love and learn yourself forward. That's it. That's it. Just love and learn yourself forward.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be perfect. We're all fucking up. It's part of this human journey.
Right. I think that the loving ourselves, especially as an empath, we become this like martyr, right? We nail ourselves to the cross over and over and over and over and over again because this is going to go a little left, so stay with me. This is just my theory. The empath and the narcissist are two sides of the same coin, right? We live in a polarity, right? Everything is, there's good and evil, there's always balance. So the interesting place that the empath and the narcissist come together at is we're both seeking love to fill our love cup or whatever from outside of ourselves instead of filling it up from within.
And you know what? As you said that, I had this beautiful vision of a coin, because you described it, two sides of the coin, right? The empath on one side and the narcissist on the other. And I picture this coin spinning, 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 spinning. But if it stops spinning and you look at it in your hand, what is it? It's a coin.
Mm-hmm.
It is you. And it has worth.
Mm-hmm.
You are the coin with worth.
Yes.
So whatever side of the coin, like, stop focusing on the sides of the coin and focus on the edges.
Yes.
focus on the density of the coin. Focus on the value of the coin. Focus
Yes.
on what that coin can represent in your life.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, like it's so interesting though, because yes, like I think that's exactly it. I think that we do. And yeah, it's so easy to be a martyr. It's so easy because we're giving, and then we sit back and go, holy fuck, like all I do is give.
And then we give, and then I mean, I assume this happened to you. At some point, you had a dry well. You can't get water from a dry well. But then what do we do then? We break down, or we like lash out at everybody because we have a dry well. When we created it, we emptied it out.
Right? Right? And the other piece is, and this is what I truly believe, Lisa, is that the other thing that we have as humans having human experiences, and again, I am not a religious human being, but as humans having human experiences, we fail to recognize that we are part of something so much larger.
Yes.
And we fail to recognize that, and whether you believe it or not, and I do believe that I have soul guides, and I do believe that my previous husband is one of them. And I know he's probably also living his next juicy life, because he was a guy who liked to get shit done, but I also know he's still with me.
Yeah.
And so, you know, like, that's that trust piece. We also have to trust that we're not alone in this.
Yes.
And that we can find our like sparks and our like flames in the world. And I actually believe that I found one right here today. And finding those sparks fuels that fire of love.
Yes.
And learning forward. Yeah. Like that's what we are. This is an opportunity for us to connect and just live juicy.
Yes. Yes. So tell us what living juicy means. What is that? What's living juicy?
Well, you know what? Like, my version of living juicy is going to be different from your version of living juicy.
Okay.
Because we're all having our own experiences. So what makes me happy could be completely different from what creates joy for you.
Gotcha.
You know, for me, like my juicy is derived in my core values. And my core values are love, adventure, and connection. And so for me, as long as something is attending to one of my core values, I know I'm living juicy.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I mean, that can mean so many things. Like, it's just so, I love it. It's captivating and alluring all at the same time. It's like, what's that? Sounds a little dirty.
Well, and you know what? If living juicy is love and adventure, go hard, girlfriend. Raise your vibe whatever way you need.
Whatever you need to.
Right?
There's no judgment here. This is definitely a no judgment zone. So
I love it.
You mentioned this earlier. I want you to tell the folks about Lighten Up, right? That you're launching this program February 5th. So I want us to talk about what's Lighten Up. How did it come to be? Tell us all about it.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you. So Lighten Up is really it's kind of the blueprint, not kind of, it is the blueprint that I put together in my own journey of figuring out how to love myself. And it is about mind, body, and spirit. So it is about going within and really creating a daily practice of focus and intention and awareness, it's really an exploration of self-awareness. And so on February 5th, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be launching Lighten Up as a 90-day challenge, if you will. So it will be doing some goal setting for the next 90 days and then getting the program that really does teach you how to lean into trusting yourself. And it shows you the power of showing up for yourself daily through really simple practices, like making sure you're getting enough fucking sleep. Like,
what's that? Sleep?
Right? I know. But then it stretches you a little bit because it also creates an environment where you get to recognize the things you like about yourself every day.
Yeah.
And set a daily intention. How do you want to move into the world today for you? And so the program itself is gentle and beautiful. And it's really, the purpose of it is, and I hate fucking New Year's resolutions, which is why this is in February. Because I don't want somebody to jump on the New Year's resolution, I need to lose 20-pound bullshit train. I want people who are like, I'm ready to start living my best life. Yeah. And I'm ready to start showing up for myself every day to make it happen.
Yes.
Because it's really easy not to show up for ourselves and go, oh yeah, I bought that program. I'm not going to do, or I'll do it later. I'll wait until, and there's always an until. So until we start actually carving out the time to show up for ourselves, nobody else is going to give it to us.
No.
It doesn't work that way. So yeah,
I love it.
Lighten Up is going to be on February 5th. I don't have the information on my website yet, but it will be coming and it's going to be absolutely gorgeous.
It'll be fabulous.
Women are going to learn the art of self-love by showing up for themselves and build their best fucking lives.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And quite sure, because we're recording this, guys, like even before Christmas. So I'm quite sure by the time we get there, we'll have plenty of ways for them to link up to you. Now, until such time, though, your website is perfectlyimperfect.wtf.
Correct.
Like I thought that was
is that not like the best fucking URL ever?
That's like so amazing. That's so unique. I can't even, like, I was like, there's what? And I'm like, will this work? I'm like, oh, it does. So that's fabulous. You'll never forget her URL at all. And what I love is that Tanya also has, some free resources. She has ways to work with her one-on-one. I mean, you're just presenting such a wonderful opportunity for folks, for women, but for women in general, to be able to get in touch with and love themselves and reclaim our power, right? Because we've given it away to everybody else to define us, right? To define us and who we are and what our life really is. And so I just absolutely adore the fact that you are helping us reclaim that power. Thank you. That's amazing.
It is my honor to be able to inspire hope for as many people as need their flame fired.
Well, from the collective, we thank you.
Thank
you very much. This has been an amazing time together. Wow. I couldn't have asked for anything more. This is amazing. I want to thank you so much. Tell the people one more time, what is your URL? How can they find you, Tanya?
Again, I'm Tanya Gill, founder of www.perfectlyimperfect.wtf. You can find me on socials. I'm not really good at socials. I'm working on it. And that's just perfectlyimperfect.wtf on both Facebook and Instagram. And yeah, head over to my website, sign up for my newsletter, take advantage of the free resources. And you know what? Like, trust and love yourself. You have the ability to love and learn yourself forward.
I love it.
Really?
I love it. And I second that. I second that emotion. Tanya, thank you so very much. Guys, run, do not walk over to her URL. Find her on the socials. Find her on her website. You will not regret it. Guys, we're going to let you go now. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
And to my audience, peace, love, blessings, and joy be unto you today, tomorrow, and for all eternity. I love you guys so much. Namaste. Bye, guys.